Siri could see this now. Ugh, disgusting. Foul creatures! You're mine! Vile abomination! The stench, it's getting worse.
Welcome back, you filthy exiles. So, I was not a content creator when I went to Exilecon, but I actually got to play POE 2 originally, and anyway, I thought I'd do some recap videos on Exilecon from the last Exilecon a few years ago, breaking down some of the mechanics in a bite-sized pieces, so, you know, we basically can pull it apart and go, okay, this is what we know before we get into the new one. But anyway, obviously the new trailer, the Aggorats come out, or the teaser, and this game just looks insane. So I thought I'd just do a piece-by-piece sort of run-through and have a look at some of the details that you might not see straight off the bat when you look at the trailer initially, but you realize like the amount of detail that's going into this game is just absolutely insane. So let's have a look at this like together and just go through, you know, what it, you know, some of the things that we might have missed.
If that Siri could see this now.
So like the first thing off the cuff here is the detail in everything that's going on here. The graphics look amazing. So according to POE, the last Exilecon, basically how the tile system was put together originally was still based off of the architecture, even in the current game, of what it was when they initially built the first like engines for PoE. For PoE 1 going back like 10 years ago. And so basically we're looking at a completely new engine. For some people that I've seen who have been like, oh, this is like just a reskin. It's not a reskin. It's an entirely new engine. And even in looking at their R&D development budget in their balance sheet, if you were to go and look up their financial statements, you can see they've just been pumping cash into the development of this engine, which is why it looks amazing and why things sort of stick out as so vividly as what they do. But anyway, let's get into it more.
Disgusting. Foul creatures.
So I guess just looking at this detail here, and we'll see this as we go through, it looks like there's more visible abilities to see ailments. That looks like an ailment on the enemy. So we'll go through. We can see power charges popping up. And see, now we have what looks like combo skills. And this is made possible with the new skill system that's going to be anchored inside the skill gem itself. So for PoE 2, the existing skill gem setup is actually going to be built into the skill gems. And so you'll be able to link the skills within the gems. And then all you'll be doing is switching the items out. And I'll do a video, a bit of a recap on this as well, based on the content that we saw at Exilecon. But really, in short, basically the full skill system's being overhauled to allow for this exact thing to happen. And you can see it in the second trailer where they show off spear skills, in particular the spear skills. Now, it wouldn't be surprising if they have like a whole heap of different combination skills that can be added to spear skills. And spear skills themselves have like two phases or multiple phases. So you have like a combat run-in phase and then a disengage phase. So it's not surprising that this is what we can see. And there are also things like cross bolts, different types of bolts. There could be like different types of spear gems attached into spears or modifiers on those gems. So there's some really cool stuff that we'll see come out of this. So as we can see there, that's the ailment that's coming in. So they're making ailments more visible. And with some of the changes that have been made to PoE over the last few leagues, it's not surprising that they're focusing on how ailments and your interaction with those ailments and enemies work. So now we can sort of more visibly see what's actually going on the screen, as opposed to what they were before, which is like small, like, you know, shock, like outline or whatever. So, or having to rely on what's on the actual enemy at the top of the bar. So this is something that we can visibly see is how our ailments are, if our ailments are even affecting the enemy and whatnot. So that's what I sort of read from this, but you know, it could be anything else too, you know, but that's what it looks like.
Vile abomination.
So the pacing of the game as well is really like this is slowed down. This is looks like an earlier part. Like this might be Act 3 or Act 4 or something like that. But it looks like there's going to be a change in the way that we play it, and it's going to be more based on combos and dropping multiple skill combos and whatnot. I don't think they'll do away with what we had previously, which was, you know, based on this one skill setup system, but I think it's going to be an option to be able to do skill combos. And what we know about the class system, so when I went to Exilecon, they basically said there's going to be the existing classes from Path of Exile 1, but they're going to be adding in, what was it, 16 new classes or whatever, or 12 new classes from the new PoE 2. And so they were looking at things like Zombie Mancer, Karui Summoners, Spear class, Bombardier class. So it was like, yeah, you could call in like, you know, strikes from out of the map and stuff like that as if you're playing Pathfinder. So that we don't even know what classes we currently have. Like this was content that we were made privy to 4 years ago, and potentially this is like a more acrobatic version of the Marauder. But then, you know, there's so many things that they could add in. We just don't know what they are yet. So there might be like quick switch skills and things. It looks like there's like combo skills here going on, and there could be like a class that allows for combos. We already know that they're going to be adding in morphing as well, so werewolf form and stuff like that. So there's definitely going to be some interesting combination skill classes that is sort of, this is starting to show the picture of, which will change the way that we play the game. But the way that I see it is probably not going to aberrantly push you in the direction of having to play that. Like if you want to play like the old RF build, I feel like they would allow you to continue to do that. And this would just be, hey, there's all these new things that you could play with and all these new skill combos, so go crazy and have at.
Stench. It's getting worse.
Like, and the obvious thing here is that is just absolutely disgusting, and I love it in every possible way. So you can see, like, from the slap, there's definitely new texture mapping engine, there's new physics, everything. And for anyone who's like, oh, this game is like just reskin, again, like you can sort of feel the hits and moves and vibrations and stuff there on the screen, and it's friggin' brilliant. Like even the water mapping there, like the texture mapping over the water and the ripple effects looks amazing. So the other thing, like, so I've played initially the Alpha or whatever the version was at Exile 1, the first Exilecon, right? For PoE 2. And what I can say is you can really feel the meatiness of the character. Like, I played the Marauder, and like, he feels chunky and like a big fuck off, like, barbarian feeling, like, heavy character. And I gotta say, my experience with it initially was it was fantastic. Like, if you get that feeling of like being a light sort of tricksterish character or whatever, or like the duelist, like moderate sort of all around, the play style that you're going to go with is going to be really based on the skill set, but also based on how the character feels. So like if you're a big heavy armor character, then you're probably going to feel like you're a bigger and heavier armored character. And the other thing was like the sound effects and everything just makes it even more immersive. But anyway, this is just a bit of a breakdown, I guess, just to talk through the trailer. And some people will be like, oh, you're just putting up content for the sake of content. I'm really excited for this game. And having actually played it at the last Exilecon, there's some stuff that I can weigh in here on, because this has come obviously 4 years or 3.5 years further into the future, and I can see so much progress that's been put into this game. It's unbelievable. But also, there's so many new systems that we're going to have to learn and whatnot that's sort of coming out here. But anyway, this is a really cool clip. An interesting fact, that thing there, what that's in the background there, there's a creature that looks similar to that in the Path of Exile, the second trailer that was for Act 2. that's traveling on the caravan through the desert. So anyway, I hope this sort of fills some gap there is, because everybody's talking about D4, and here I am just super keen and excited for Path of Exile 2 in opposition to that. Anyway, if you like this type of content and these types of breakdowns, let me know in the description. And until next time, stay filthy and bye.